Welcome to Only Trying to Help, the podcast where we try to help you be helpful to other people. My name is Dr. Kate Watson, and I've got a great guest, Laurie Dimond, here with us today from Canada. So, Laurie, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, like what you do, maybe how you're doing today, what's new in Canada? Kick us off.
Okay, hey, thanks, Kate. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Well, I am from Canada. I'm from the prairies. I live in Saskatchewan, and it's April 23rd and it's snowing. So we've got our sixth or seventh winter happening this year. So it'll melt fast, but and yeah, so I've been enjoying that today, and yeah, I'm an addiction counselor by trade. That's my background, but I say by trade because I own a little crystal shop. I operate my rock and gem shop online, so that's my main gig. And yeah, I do a bit of motivational interviewing, which is like a kind of like a therapy style, a counseling style, right? And yeah, I don't know what else to say about myself.
You wear a lot of hats. You do. And I know in one of those hats that you wear, you've mentioned, your work as a trainer. You help other people try to be helpful in their own lives. And obviously that's kind of why you're here today. This is what we talk about all the time on our show is, like what are the ways that we could like bump up those skills around helping other people. And sometimes we talk about the things that like we had good intentions and they just like didn't pan out the way that we thought. And you and I were kind of brainstorming some of those things. And actually, if you recall, we ended up with quite a list of some things that we could talk about.
A lot of ideas.
Yeah, because there's no shortage of well meaning things that people do when they're trying to be helpful. But one of the things we decided to like zero in on is this idea of being like reassuring to others. And I'll bet, given all the different hats that you wear, this probably comes up in so many different ways. I'll bet as a business owner, there are times where maybe you're feeling the urge to be very reassuring. You are also a parent, you are an addictions counselor, you are a trainer and teacher. There are a lot of ways that I can imagine that coming up for you. What is this feeling that we get when we want to maybe reassure other people? Like, where is that coming from in the first place, you think?
Hmm. Yeah, reassurance. I think about this a lot actually, and even more so as I get older and I start to settle into more of like who I am, the more I become like myself, the more I start to notice reassurance coming up from others, even from myself. And it comes from a good place, right? It comes from a place of wanting to be there for people, wanting to support people, wanting people to know, hey, I love you, I appreciate you, like I support you. And I've been noticing it coming up a lot more lately. And so I started questioning, like, what is this? What am I calling what I'm experiencing from others? And I'm not liking it, if I'm being honest. I'm not really enjoying the feeling of being reassured.
On the receiving end, yeah, on the receiving end, you're like, this isn't what I've asked for. This isn't what I need right now. Um, and I think when I try and describe this to Lori, tell me if this is how you would describe it. But whereas like maybe we give advice to people and advice might be like our attempt to change what they do. Or maybe we give information to people and that's our attempt to change what they think. But reassurance is like this attempt to change how someone feels. It's saying to
Mm.
someone things like, don't be mad or don't be scared or it'll be all right. Everything's going to be okay. So let me say that again. Like if I'm giving someone advice, I think I'm trying to change what actions they're going to take or how they're going to do things. If I give someone information, I'm probably trying to change how they think. But reassurance, to me, it feels like I'm trying to change how you feel.
Yeah, that's exactly what reassurance feels like. And I would say that's what it looks like. It's saying, and I think the intention is like, I see that you're feeling uncomfortable or you're having emotions that are uncomfortable for you. And so I want to make it better. I want to say something that's encouraging and hopefully you won't feel that way anymore. So that's one side of it. As the recipient on the other side of it, what I've really been noticing for myself, if I could share, is this feeling of like, oh, you're uncomfortable with who I'm being when I'm expressing myself or when I'm being myself. So it's that piece about like, so the older I get, the more I call it unmasking. So as somebody who is neurodivergent, so I've got ADHD or diagnosis for ADHD. I'm spending I'm in my late 30s, learning how to like be like, who am I? And starting to unmask, because I think for a lot of years I've been somebody else that I think everybody wants me to be. So as I'm starting to be more of myself, I'm noticing people around me being like, no, it's okay, you're okay. And offering this reassurance. And at times where I'm like, oh, I didn't know I wasn't okay. Am I not okay? Am I making them uncomfortable? So it really got me thinking about how we offer this reassurance, trying to change what somebody's feeling when we're shining a light on something that they didn't even know was there.
Absolutely. And I think you have highlighted how when you're on the receiving end of someone's trying to reassure you, someone's trying to change how you feel, you're highlighting how perceptive you are at noticing I'm not really the one who needs reassurance. It seems to be the other person. So let me make that clear for the listening audience. So let's imagine Laurie and I are friends taking a walk, and Laurie's telling me about something in her life. And I say, oh, Laurie, don't worry about that thing in your life. Don't worry about that. Everything's going to be fine. Laurie's noticing that actually I'm uncomfortable. Laurie's picking up that Kate is the one who's feeling uneasy about what we're talking about. And that seems to be why we jump into this reassuring kind of reflex of trying to make people feel better, because it's making me feel weird. It's making me uncomfortable. So I'm so uncomfortable and uneasy about this thing we're talking about. I need to now try to change how you feel.
Hmm. Yeah, like while it comes with these good intentions of someone trying to ease the situation, it's really just a reflection of that person's discomfort with whatever they're hearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, similar to your experience, when I'm on the receiving end and someone's starting to reassure me or change how I feel, I am often sitting there thinking, oh no, I made this person uncomfortable. I
Mm.
shared something with them. I opened up. I told them something about my life, and now look at them. They're over there going, "It's okay, Kate. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry. Just don't think about it." And I'm sitting there like, "Oh, I've just like messed you up, didn't I? Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I shared, because clearly you're not handling this well."
You went into that conversation wanting to connect with somebody. And so you were open and you were honest and transparent. And then you noticed when they started to reassure you that, uh-oh, I've done something to make them uncomfortable, which actually creates some insecurity in you when their intention was to help you feel better.
Codependent is the word of the day, I think. The like, now I've got to make you feel better about how I feel. Oh, it's a mess. It's a mess, I know. And yet I think about it a lot when I'm on the other side. When a friend dares to share something with me and like is brave enough to open up to me, I start to think to myself, I want to show this person that I can handle it. Like, I wanna show this person that I am not uncomfortable. I am not afraid of this conversation. Lay it on me. And so this kinda, like, brave person comes out of me to say, "Keep going, keep talking, keep sharing with me. I will not reassure you. I will not try to make your feelings different. Instead, I'm gonna prove to you that you haven't upset me or unsettled me, that, like, I can handle this. I can handle whatever you wanna tell me."
Yeah, you're really somebody that just knows how challenging it can be to express something about yourself, about themselves. And so I just, as you're talking, I could just see a peacock. The feathers are popped out, and this beautiful, really open and accepting nature. and just holding that space, creating this really safe space where you don't even flinch.
Well, I mean, I may flinch, but it's the mantra in my mind is like, "You can handle this, Kate. Show them that you can handle this." But maybe I need the mantra because 'cause I'm kinda flinching a little deep down, you know? How about for you? Like, when someone comes to you and says, "Lori, can we talk? I need to get something off my chest," and they maybe share, like, a problem. I mean, you're human, so I'm sure there's a part of you that is feeling this urge to reassure. What helps you in that moment?
Yeah, and it's such a good question, Kate. Just that idea of how do you handle these conversations that might actually be uncomfortable and might create some of that feeling of wanting to fix or wanting to offer reassurance. And it is a conscious effort to not do those things. You know, like you said, we are human, and I think that we want to see people we don't want people suffering. We want people to be feeling joy and feeling, but I think one of the things I tell myself is like all of these feelings are normal, and who am I to say that somebody feeling discomfort is a bad thing? Like that's actually where growth takes place, right? So I think the conversation I often have with myself is like, I support this person. I support all feelings, and all feelings are welcome here. And my job is really just to love and to support.
Yeah. Well, I'm relieved. I thought for a second, I was like, "Oh, what if Lori says, 'No, I never feel the urge to reassure.'" So,
Well, I sit on my hands sometimes, and I'm like, don't give advice. Don't give advice.
okay, relief, where you're like us. You're like most people who need some kind of strategy or mantra or something to say. And the thing that you're saying to yourself is, "Who am I to like rob this person of their chance to be angry or to be sad or to be scared or to be nervous?" Like I like that. I like that as something that can come into your head is like, who am I to say that that's not how they should be feeling right now?
Yeah, and just like it is a conscious effort. It does take that internal dialogue to work through some of those feelings because it is an automatic urge to reassure, to fix, to soothe, whatever it is. But I think that sometimes people just want to say the thing that they're experiencing, and sometimes just even saying it back, like, you know, reflecting back what they've told us can be really effective too, of just, yeah, that's a really hard feeling for you to manage, or that experience really rocked you.
Yeah, and believe me, it hasn't escaped me that you've done that a few times in the, like, 15 to 20 minutes that we've been recording. You are a natural with the just, like, reflecting back. Folks who are listening, pause now, go back and listen again because, Lori, you do this. You reflect back without necessarily telling someone what to do or even asking a question, and you have a way of doing it that is natural.
Well, thank you for that. I like that you call it natural. It's actually something that I've really worked on, and it wasn't always something that was natural for me. So I always tell people, if you, because I do get that people say this to me often, and I say, like, anybody can really do that by practicing listening and just, you know, saying back what we hear from people. And if I could only do that with my husband, it's something that I practice for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mention your husband because this conversation was sort of reminding me of a conversation I had with my husband recently. Um, so I really enjoy entertaining. I like to be the hostess at my house. I like having people over. And I love doing this, and yet I promise this is related to what we're talking about. But even though I love being the hostess and having little, like, brunches and parties and dinners and things like that, when I am getting ready to host, I probably look like I'm not enjoying it because and my husband will tell you, I'm, like, running all around the house, and I'm telling him, "Pick this up, move this, I gotta get this ready, I've got to put this in the oven." And I look stressed out. And it freaks him out because he's not used to seeing me like that. He's used to me being cool, calm, collected. At least I like to think that I am, and I think he would describe me that way. So it startles him when he sees me, like, breaking a sweat and moving really quickly in the house. And it startles him, and I think he gets worried, like he should be doing something, like he should be helping me. And I could see the look on his face is like, how do I help you right now? And I've had to say to him, I know it looks bad in a sense, or it looks stressful, or it looks like anxiety, but you have to know I'm loving this. Like I live for this. I want this. And so the analogy that I've given him, which I think will be helpful for our conversation about reassurance, is because he's a big sports guy. I said, it's like watching an athlete play. They don't look like they're having fun while they're playing at the highest level, right? If you turn on professional sports, they don't look like they're enjoying themselves at all. But ask any of them, and they will say, it's the greatest love of my life, right? They like, just try and take this sport away from me. It's the thing I love more than anything in the world. But while they're playing, they look stressed out. They look angry. They look, they're sweating. I said, you have to look at me like I'm just an athlete and it's like the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup or it's the World Series. Like it's game day. And you have to just let me do it. You have to like let me play my sport. And there's nothing to fix. I'm just playing my game. And I guess I'm thinking about it in this conversation about reassurance. Sometimes people will come to us and appear to be very upset, or maybe they truly are very upset. Part of our job is to like, let them play that sport right now. Let them work it out. It's doesn't look fun, doesn't look like joy and happiness, and that's okay. Maybe we need to let them do it.
That's such a great analogy, Kate. Wow. Really just seeing you running around like a chicken with their head cut off, and yet like you got dopamine flowing. Like you are just loving every second of it. And somebody from the outside might be like, it's okay, calm down, you're okay, everything's okay, there's no fires. And you're like, I'm just actually I'm lighting the fires. What you mean?
That'd be the best day of my life.
Yeah, yeah. And so what a great reminder too of just how sometimes things aren't always what they appear to be. And if I can share a quick story as well that reminded me of, and maybe this is an ADHD thing. I do talk about the neurodivergent thing a lot because it's really so much about so much of who I am, and yet maybe all people are like this. I'm not sure, but I move quickly. I move very, very quickly, and to some people that can be really off-putting. And I have my lovely, wonderful assistant that helps me with my rock business. And okay, we got 5 minutes, we got to start, and I'm running around, I'm like saying this and giving demands. I'm like, you do this, I do this. Oh, and I got to do this, and I'm just like, and I recognized I was doing this one day, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, is my like anxious energy creating like you to feel that way?" She said to me, "Laurie, you move how you move. I'm not responsible." Something like, "I'm not responsible for your behavior. I'm responsible for mine." Or you're not responsible. That's what it was. You're not responsible for my behavior. Like you move how you move, and I support that. And I started falling, and I'm not a crier, and so that really moved me. It reminded me that like I don't have to mask. I can move how I move, and she didn't have to reassure me. What a great feeling to feel acceptance rather than what I thought was going to happen, which was she was going to reassure me for something that wasn't even happening.
You thought you were going to be sort of reassured or corrected or fixed in some way. And instead, she said, you're perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So even just offering that to folks when we see something that seems a little different than what we want for them.
Mm. Yeah. I think this could be like a really good takeaway from this whole episode, which is just like if you really want to show that you love and care for people, Like, let them do their thing, and that might mean let them cry, it might mean let them yell and scream, it might mean let them move quickly, it might mean let them be a stressed out hostess or something like that, but, like, again, in our sports analogy, like, let them play their game and the way they play it. Allow that and make space for that and honor that, and to me, that's truly a way to show that you care about somebody, is to say, "You move the way you move, you play this game the way you play it, and I'll play the way I play." Mhm. Beautiful, thank you for that.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful reflection. Thank you for sharing that back.
So, on this topic of reassurance, is there like a way of looking at this that maybe we haven't looked at yet, or something that you wanted to say about it that maybe we haven't gotten around to yet?
What might happen if we don't reassure? And if we do let somebody move how they move, and we see that someone might be, running around sweating, setting the tables and sweeping the floors for the party, what might happen if we just say, hey, I'm here for you, whatever you need?
Yeah. I mean, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I love seeing you in your element. If I'm reading that wrong and you do need help, please speak up. But I'm reading this as, you're moving your way today. Um, yeah, and I don't know that you and I will have an answer to that question, like, what would happen if? We could speculate, speculate that maybe people will feel honored and accepted. These are all guesses. People will feel how they feel. But but, my guess
Mhm.
my guess is that people might feel like, "Wow, I can truly be me now. I don't have to." In your example of running your business with your assistant, you don't have to run it in a way that makes your assistant comfortable. You can just run it the way you wanna run it, and for me hosting parties, I don't have to perform like I'm not moving quickly and setting everything up and wanting everything to be perfect. I can just do it the way that I wanna do it. Um, I think a question that's maybe adjacent to yours is around, like, you know that attempt to, what I'm calling, like, fix or change feelings, does it even work? Like, I guess if somebody's feeling betrayed and devastated and heartbroken, and I thought for a moment, if I just tell them, "Hey, don't feel that way," and they might actually feel better, well, I guess then I could see some value in it. But it doesn't work. That isn't how feelings work. In the history of the world, no one's ever been less angry because we said, "Don't be mad." No, in the history of the world, no one's ever been less anxious because we said, "Oh, don't be nervous." I mean, how many times in my life have I looked at someone and said, "Oh, I'm so nervous," and they go, "Don't." "Oh, okay." "Oh, yeah, great, good idea. I just won't be." I mean, feelings just don't work that way. So, reassurance does not work, and also might, as an added, problem, it might also send the message, "I'm actually just uncomfortable." Any thoughts about that, Laurie?
Mhm. Yeah, bang on. I for a long time, because it's been coming up a lot lately. Like I said, the more I do it, the more I notice, like, is what am I doing that is making people reassure me? Because it's been happening so much, and it's been like this internal dilemma of like, what am I doing wrong? You know, But what I'm discovering, and thank you for validating that today, is like, and I hope that anybody listening can remember that part too, of just, it's not really about that person. It's about us as the person who's doing the reassuring. We're the ones that are uncomfortable, right? And it takes some introspection to be able to recognize that too.
Right, so rather than thinking, "What am I doing wrong that everyone feels they need to reassure me?" The question becomes, "What's going on with everyone around me that they're uncomfortable with my feelings?" I have said out loud to someone, and listen, this is you'd have to be really close to me for me to be this really blunt and honest. So it was, I think, probably my sister I said it to, or someone like that, someone I'm really close to. But whoever it was trying to reassure me, and I remember saying to them, "I can tell what I'm talking about is making you really uncomfortable." And I really bluntly said that. And I think I said it for me. I think I said it as like a standing up for me kinda thing, which is why, like, I'm not sure I would be so bold with every single person in the world, but if you're close enough to me, I could look at you and say, like, "This is about you. You're uncomfortable with what I'm saying, and that's obvious to me right now." Would I say that to every single person? I'm not sure I would, but to someone who I feel like I could be really honest with, I would say, I'm getting the sense that what I've shared has made you really uncomfortable."
I'm actually going to write that one down. That's a very, very helpful boundary to think about using, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and just leaving it as a statement.
Hmm.
I have said
Yeah.
something that seems to have made you uncomfortable, period. Like, there's no more. And just, like, let that hang and let the other person decide what to do with that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I'm trying to think of what that would feel like to me if someone said it to me. Like, if someone set that boundary with me and they said, "Okay, Kate, yeah, I've just shared something with you, Kate, and it seems like I've made you uncomfortable." I'll bet knee-jerk reaction, not my best reaction, but my knee-jerk one would be, "No, no, no, I'm not uncomfortable. I'm fine. I'm okay." Knee-jerk reaction, but, like, if my better self prevails, my better self, I would hope, would say, "Hmm, maybe. Yeah, maybe I did get uncomfortable, and maybe I would owe that person, just, like, some space. Maybe I'd owe myself some space. Let me see if I can, shift my mindset." But I would hope that I don't rely on that knee-jerk reaction of going, "No, I'm fine. No, no, no," like, denying, just denying I'm uncomfortable. But I do think my quick reaction might have been that, yeah. "No, not me. I'm not uncomfortable."
Well, and as I'm listening, I'm just thinking about, like, is this just a societal thing where we are uncomfortable with uncomfortable feelings? And so even all the time people are like, "Oh, bad feelings, bad." I'm like, they're not bad feelings. They're just feelings. They're just, oh, here I am reassuring. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, well, endless vicious cycle, right? But yeah, they may not be bad feelings. They can be unpleasant. They can be inconvenient. They could not be our favorite feelings to feel, but like they are just what they are.
Yeah, and I think a part of it too, and this is what really got me thinking a lot about reassurance for my own experience, is like, this is just how I move. What a great term. That is just how I move. This is just like where I'm at. And I'm somebody that wants to connect with people really quickly. So I'm like super open and honest and like transparent, and I get that feeling of like, oh, maybe I don't share with this person when somebody reassures me or when somebody tries to fix. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's that too, which is like we begin to learn who not to go to. And I'm kind of slowing down on that because I guess that's an uncomfortable feeling, right? Like that maybe I just opened up to someone who isn't in a good place to hear these things right now, and maybe I'd be less inclined to go to them next time. I think about that a little bit when I find out like a friend or a family member was going through something and didn't tell me. I think, "Oh, did I somewhere along the line like teach them accidentally that I'm not a good person to come to in these moments?" I'll never get the answer to that, and that's okay. I can live with that. But like I do wonder, Was there a time in the past when maybe I reassured or I advised or I corrected or I judged or I shamed? Who knows? Who knows what it might have been? But like there may be a reason someone's not coming to me now, and it might be something that, like one of these little pitfalls or traps that I had fallen into at one point. And again, I will never know. I don't torture myself with these things, but I think I have like a healthy curiosity about like, oh, but were there times that maybe someone didn't get what they needed from me? And then they've decided, all right, well, there are other people in my life who I can turn to when problems arise. I don't know if that ever crosses your mind, Laurie.
Those are such good questions to ask yourself, and I really think that that's the best way for us to grow in our own experiences, right? And yeah, I think that that's an important thing to look at. Was it something that I said, like you said, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, but it's something that's good to look at.
I know we were talking a little bit about like, maybe we accidentally teach people like, I may not be a safe place for you to come. Did you get it? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking about how, you're talking about these experiences that are like big things and something happens, we talk to people. But sometimes it's just like little date, like I'm just sitting here and I'm like, man, my socks are uncomfortable. Like it could be just something so small too. And it's not always these big things that we talk about. It's just existing in our own skin and like being ourselves. And that's when it comes up for me the most, is when I'm just like existing. And I talk about the neurodivergent thing a lot because I think it's really important, because I think a lot of us are, and there's a lot of sensory things that happen, and there, a lot of people that I know that are very expressive, and we're really just expressing all the things that we're experiencing all the time, and sometimes it's to connect with others, but sometimes it's just because it's our experience. And so it's even those little moments when I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling overstimulated, or I'm feeling really tired today, or it's not even a specific scenario, and we're met with that reassurance.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I can't help but wonder, like, if I were being reassured on some tiny little matter, I might tuck away in my mind, like, all right, this person who I'm turning to can't even seem to handle that my socks are uncomfortable today. I'm not sure I'm turning to them when I'm grieving or, like there's some major thing. We might be kind of tucking away, like, okay, this is good information. This person seems really bothered that like, oh, my coffee got cold and I don't like my cold coffee. Like they seem very upset by that. So when the shit really hits the fan, and like something really major happens, that's probably not the person I'm gonna go to. Hopefully, I've got someone else in my life who's better able to say, "Okay, so big things are happening now. Let's be with that."
Yeah. Yeah. And you said early on in this conversation that when someone does come to me about something, I know that even if it does, even if I do feel something about it, I'm really going to try and show up for them, right? You have this internal dialogue and this self talk that's happening inside. So, yeah, it's just starting to figure out like who can I talk to, and also look for ourselves. Is that the kind of person I want to be? Do I want to be somebody that people tell that their coffee's cold to?
Yeah, it's a good point.
How do I want to show up?
You're making a really good point because I think the like quote unquote helper in me assumes everyone else wants to be that person. And the truth is, there are some people who are like, I pray to God every day no one comes to me with a problem. So I'm just not that. I want people to come to me. That's who I am. I want to show the world that like I can handle it. But I guess you're right. And thank you for the reminder that some folks out there are like, yeah, I'd be fine if no one called me on their bad day. But to tell you the truth, I don't think they're listening to this podcast, but they're out there. They're out there. Well, one final thought I'm having, and then yeah, I'm happy to hear if there's anything else that you want to share before we wrap up, is I'm always aware of when we talk about like on the show, like what not to say, like don't be reassuring, don't step in with, telling someone, don't be scared, don't be nervous. That message of like don't, I think comes through and then makes people a little uneasy because they begin to think, but what would I say then? Like if I'm not going to say to someone, "Hey, don't worry about that." I'm not sure what else to say. Now, that's another episode for another day. That's really not something to open up with just like 2 minutes left. But I will say, if you're stuck and you have no idea what else to say, and the only things coming to mind are reassuring statements, and you're sitting there going, "Oh, but I'm not supposed to be reassuring, so what else should I do?" I will tell you one thing that has gotten me out of those, like, deer in headlights moments is just to say to someone, like, "I can handle this. It's alright." Like, and "It's alright" is reassuring, isn't it? Maybe I'm saying that for me, but "I can handle this. We can talk about this. We can be mad together. We can have this conversation." I keep almost saying "It's alright" again, and that's
That's your internal. That's inside voice.
it is my inside voice. "It's alright. It's alright." I'm speaking to me when I say, "It's alright. It's alright. We can do this." But out loud, I could say to someone, "I'm glad you told me. Let's talk about it." Not like, "No, don't feel that way." Just the other day, a friend of mine was at a conference and she texted me and said, "I'm having imposter syndrome. I feel like I don't belong here." And of course, I wanted to write back, "Stop it." Right? Like, "You're being ridiculous." And I wanted to say that back. I took a deep breath, and then I wrote to her, "Of course you know I want to say, 'Stop it, you're being ridiculous.'" I wrote those words. You know I want to say that. And instead, I'm really gonna say, "Thanks for telling me, and, let me know how the rest of the day goes. I have a feeling that it's gonna turn out fine, but I don't know. You'll have to let me know. Thanks for telling me." Or I think, later in the day, I said something like, "It also makes sense to feel a little out of place when you're new at something, and it's a sign that you're putting yourself out there, and so feeling a little strange or out of place there makes sense. You've never done it before." But I did text her the words, "Of course you know I want to say stop it." And maybe that helps to just, like, get a little laugh out, and she probably rolled her eyes and was like, "I know you want to say that." But, we can maybe approach it with some humor. It doesn't have to be so serious. But with some humor, I might say, "Okay, I'm gonna try not to reassure you because I wanna show you that I can handle this." That might be helpful in those moments. Any final thoughts, Lori?
I think being able to show up in that way just showed me so much about who you are. And that makes me feel comfortable, even when I'm feeling that imposter syndrome, right? So just how you showed up and said what you were thinking and feeling, just putting language to that really softened, I'm sure, her experience as well. But you didn't set her up to have to reassure you back, right? It was very validating. And I think we should make that clear too, is there is a difference. Reassurance is not validation. Those are different, right? Reassurance is what we're talking about today, can be not helpful. And then validation might be something that is super helpful in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, not only are they not the same thing, they're almost polar opposites, like right? Like, validation is sending the message, "What you're feeling is perfectly normal, makes a lot of sense, keep feeling that." Reassurance is, "Ooh, I don't want you to feel that way. Can you feel better, please?" So they're
Hmm.
clearly not the same thing, actually worlds apart, so thank you for that. I think that'll be a really helpful distinction for folks.
One more point, actually. I'm thinking there's times when reassurance is okay. So I just also, sometimes I was with a friend earlier today and I forgot about something that was important to her. I was like, oh man, I'm really sorry. I feel like such a dum dum about that. I should have remembered. And she's like, no, no, that's okay. And I was like, oh, thank God she reassured me. Sometimes it is okay to reassure. So I don't want to say that it's never okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. We have to be careful about any, like, rules that are way too strict or harsh. Of course, there's wiggle room. And, if you're ever unsure if you're unsure about reassurance, it's okay to just ask someone too and be like, "What do you need right now? I can sense that you're wrestling with some emotions that are probably unpleasant or uncomfortable or not your favorite ones to feel. What would be helpful?" And you never know, someone might be like, "I need you to tell me everything's gonna be fine." Okay, well, then I'll do that for you. I would have guessed that you would not want me to say that, but okay, if that's what you're asking for, then I'm gonna deliver. I can do that. So asking somebody, what would be helpful, you never know. They might be like, reassure me right now. Well, then you got it. Okay. I think what you and I are describing is when reassurance is more for the person giving it, not for the person receiving it. When it's benefiting me as the reassurer, then that's what we want to be careful about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you for being here. I always like to end an episode by asking the audience, if you have any thoughts or comments or questions, they can reach out to the show. They can email me at kate@onlytryingtohelp.com. But Laurie, if any questions or thoughts come up that feel like maybe they were really for you, is it all right if I share them with you on behalf of the listening audience?
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks so much. May we do this again sometime.
Yeah, we have a lot of topics lined up. So,
Oh, yeah, we have a list. We have a list. So we'll be back.
yeah.
All right. Thanks again. Take
Yeah.
care.
Thank you for having me.